Hi, I'm Jim, W6LG, your ham radio Elmer here on YouTube. Welcome to my radio room in Rockland, California. I'm going to do a product review of the Zygu, not sure how to pronounce it, G90. So I'm going to call it the G90 transceiver. I'll explain why in just a minute. Before that, I wanted to talk about product reviews versus commercials. I grew up in a family that did TV commercials for a time. If a company pays me to do a video, I am a paid spokesperson for that company. And with that comes some loss of credibility in reviewing the product. Whether you agree with that or not is up to you. In my view, if they're paying me dollars, either in equipment or whatever, I'm a paid spokesperson for that company. I've turned down some of the largest companies in the amateur radio area because I didn't want to become a paid spokesperson. If I buy a product, as I did the G90, then it's I paid full price, bought it online, credit card, the whole thing. My review will be independent of the company that makes those things, however you pronounce their name, and Radioddity, where from whom I purchased the transceiver. I wanted my product review to be, in fact, a product review, unbiased, maybe contain some mistakes. Let me give you an example of the kind of letter that I get fairly frequently via email. And it's almost always the same. It starts off with, Jim, W6LG, we love your videos. You are the best. You have a large audience. People like what you have to say. We would like to send to you our latest handheld. In return, we would like you to do, and I usually set sometimes of some kind of a time frame, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, a review of this new handheld. It may be one that's being released, it may be one that's already out. And in their request is the phrase, a positive review, a favorable review. In other words, we'll give you the radio if you do a nice review. And a lot of guys do that, and I don't know why. That one I don't understand. You're given a $20, $30 handheld. You spend several $100s of your time doing a, quote, product review. It just sort of sullies you and the review. It sullies the reviewer and the product. So I'm trying to avoid those altogether. I don't need another handheld. I have the last 4 or 5 I did purchase, some from Amazon. The ones that didn't work, I said they were crap, garbage, belonged in the trash. By the way, the manufacturer of those handhelds, where I really had negative things to say, made contact with me and tried to make things right. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do it. Subsequent models of their products that I bought worked well, but I sort of got to the point where I'm not doing another handheld. If you want to buy a handheld that works, buy a name brand for $80 to $100 from your favorite ham radio dealer. The one I bought was like $85 from, I'm looking at it, it's called an FT4X. I think it was $85 or $90 from Ham Radio Outlet right here in Sacramento. Back to my thoughts about product reviews. Some guys make a substantial monthly income off of selling things to you. I wouldn't mind doing that, to be honest with you. One of my medications, no exaggeration, one medication, which is a specialized medication for acute leukemia, the bill price from the manufacturer is just under, for 28 tablets, $40,000. I'm not kidding. My copay has been about $2,000 per month. I'm appealing that in hopes that I can get a reduction in that $2,000 per month. I'm fairly confident that I will. So it would be great if I were making $40,000 a month shilling handhelds, but I can't quite bring myself to do that. On to the Zygu G90, which will be the next episode. What am I thinking there? For many, especially now, $1,000 transceiver just is not in the scheme of things. Household budget, when you're paying huge prices for food and insurance and the rest of it, there's no money left over to buy a $1,000 transceiver. What I recommend a new amateur radio operator do that wants to get on HF is, I think it should be new, so that there's no issues. If that can't happen, then one that you can purchase locally from a guy that you know, that you trust, where you can sit down and operate it. So Zygu checked the box on that. The price that I paid was $400. The other transceivers are around $1,000. Right now, there's some great sales going on because of the Hamvention. The other thing I really wanted to see in a transceiver is 100 watts output. That's 20 watts output. There's a big difference between 20 and 100. Seriously, there is. It's about an S unit. I wanted it to have decent transmit quality without being complicated. So you could put it on the air, turn up a little bit of compression, and work the world with it. Here we are at the peak of the sunspot cycle. And that the receiver be halfway decent. Now, how did the Zygu turn out? Well, we'll cover that in the next episode. But I wanted to cover first why I'm doing it on the Zygu. Why would you pick that name? Call it any number of things, but make it a name that most of us understand or can pronounce. Anyway, that'll be the next episode, and I'll dig into that transceiver. I will tease it this way. It's not bad. And you've got to keep in mind it's $400. So when things come up that aren't perfect, it's just $400. And it has a lot of neat things in it. So, product reviews where the spokesperson is being paid are commercials. Product reviews where the person who's doing the review of the product is doing it independent of the company, like I did on this one, and paid for it, I think have a lot more value than somebody who's being paid to say good things about it. In the letters you get from those companies, in the initial letter, it says, just flat out, the review needs to be positive. Otherwise, we don't want you to do it. And that won't fly with me. It does with others. Even though I have huge medical bills, I just can't quite bring myself to do that. In Rockland, California, I'm Jim W6LG, your ham radio Elmer here on YouTube saying, please do subscribe. I'd like to build a bit of a legacy if you get my drift. 73.